Ooh, hello, YouTubers. It's Angela, or Canadian Redesigned. I am doing a full outline detail of my full trip to Tijuana, Mexico, where I had my surgery with Dr. Ramos Kelly on July 3rd. I flew out on July 2nd. I flew from Edmonton to San Francisco to San Diego. When I arrived in San Francisco, I had about a 45-minute layover, so I decided to contact Dr. Kelly's driver to remind him that I was coming in. I did uh, gave him about a 2.5 hour lead time, but I told him I'd be in at about 11 o'clock. Anyways, when I arrived in San Francisco, I then called him again to find out where or what time he'd be there and what he drove because I couldn't find him out at the meeting point. And he said that he was stuck at the border. So, anyways, I ended up waiting for 3.5 hours at the airport. At this point, I was a little bit irritated just because, it's not a great way to start your trip. If I can recommend to anybody that runs these businesses, you really want to start the trip off with a bang. You want to make sure people are happy and, things run smoothly from the beginning. But once he did pick me up, super sweet guy, really amazing, totally just genuine and chatted me up and kind of eased my nerves a little bit more. But we drove from there or into Tijuana from San Diego into Tijuana, and we went straight to Hospital Nova where we had my chest X-ray, and then we went next door and had my blood work done. All I can say is, I mean, it's not necessarily, if you're trying to compare it to a Canadian or a US lab, not much like that. It's kind of a little hole in the wall. Anybody that's nervous, I could just imagine your nerves would be a little bit more shaky at this point. But I was joking that they should take us to Hotel Lucerna, which is where they book us first, because we'd be like, okay, it is clean, it is nice here. Um, but from having the blood work and the chest x-ray done, we went to the San Juan Clinica, which is where I was actually having my surgery done the next day. But we went there to sign the contracts and kind of get a little tour and meet everybody and get weighed and my height and stuff. So I did meet with the clinic manager, Heidi, I think her name is. We went through all the details of the contract. She asked for payment. I asked for copies of the contracts, which I signed, because she also gets you to sign everything in English, and then she makes you sign these random forms that are in Spanish. And she tried to tell me that they were exactly the same, just translated, but the forms weren't the same. Like they didn't look mirror image, just different language. So anyways, I asked her for copies and she said no, I couldn't have copies. So I said, can I take pictures of them? And she said, oh, sure. So I took pictures of all my contracts and stuff so I would have the full details if anything did go wrong. And it's not that I was planning for it to go wrong. I just wanted to make sure I had all the right information. Gave her payment, so there is a payment predetermined that we do owe the clinic. So I paid in cash. And then we went from there to Hotel Lacerda to check myself in, and I think it was about 3:30, 4 o'clock by the time we got to the hotel, and apparently they didn't save my room. So I had no room booked in the Hotel Lucerna. Jorge was sweet enough to kind of call around, and he called and got me a room at the Hyatt. But once we went over there, we found out it was $200 and the agreed amount was 108. So I wasn't too worried about paying more, but our Canadian dollar is crap right now, and so the conversion, it was quite expensive for this hotel room for me. And I wouldn't have been at the same hotel that the other patients were, and I just kind of wanted to be able to communicate with them. And anyway, so we were sitting there, and this is like 2 hours later. I haven't eaten anything. I could only have water prior to my blood work, so I ended up getting an apple juice just to kind of get my blood sugar stabilized, I guess. I don't have any diabetes issues, but I do. Everybody gets lightheaded when they don't have something in them. And then Jorge ended up calling Hotel Serna. They did have a room, or somebody didn't show up for their room. It was a suite. It was more money, but it wasn't as much as the Hyatt, so I just agreed to pay it. I think it was 180 US, and so it was about $70 more than what I had planned on. But at this point, I didn't really care. Got into my room, kind of freshened up, got, settled a little bit, and then met a couple of the girls down in by the pool that had had their surgery 2 days prior. They were 2 days post-op. They were just staying their last night in the hotel. And so I ended up about 3 hours, sat down and visited with them. super sweet girls. They definitely helped my anxiety. I mean, I had weird things like I was like, are we going to be able to swallow it all? And so I was asking her to swallow water for me so I could see and stuff. And then Dr. Kelly came and visited with us, and I asked him a bunch of questions. We're part of this support group, which is on Facebook, and there's been massive drama. I mean, everybody has bad things to say, but it just seems to blow up and people feed off each other. So anyways, I called him out on a bunch of the things that had been brought up. He also doesn't necessarily, deal with those scenarios very well. He kind of gets really defensive and gets frustrated when people talk negatively. So anyways, I called him out on that. He made me feel really good. It was such a difference to be able to talk to him the night before. That night, I'd actually brought up to him his wife had been really promoting and pushing this new injection for nausea. It lasts 5 days. It's obviously an injection form of Zofran, but it's a higher dose, so it lasts longer in your system. So I'd asked him about it and I said, where do I get it? What do I do? And he goes, oh, unfortunately, you have to order it. Like, it's kind of too late. And, so anybody that is interested in doing something like that, I would make sure you ask your surgeon prior. Make sure they have it on hand for you. But anyway, so then I went back up to my room, had a good sleep, ended up getting up in the morning. Jorge picked me up at 8 a.m. And from there, we went to the clinic. We checked myself in. They got me changed into a gown. They hooked me up to my IV, and then I was playing Hay. I play this stupid little game that's, I don't know if it's connected to Facebook or whatever, but it's like farming, but it's like a good time spare basically because I was just waiting to go into surgery. I think we got there about 8:30 or so, and my surgery was scheduled for 10 o'clock. So I got me all hooked up to my IV and stuff. The other girl that was having the surgery the same day as me, Brittany, she actually missed her flight, or there was flight delays or cancellations, so she actually wasn't flying into San Diego until that morning. So basically, Jorge dropped me off at the clinic and then went and picked her up at the airport. So I didn't get to meet her beforehand, but like I say, I know Dr. Kelly, or sorry, the cardiologist had come in and introduced himself. He looked at my chest X-ray. He did an EKG. He looked at my blood work just to make sure nothing was going to cause any complications, and everything was all good. He was super nice. He spoke really good English. And then Frank came in, doesn't speak such good English, but we kind of got through. Frank, sorry, is the anesthesiologist, so I visited with him. And then Dr. Kelly came in, and when he came in, he said, okay, you look like you're ready. Your surgery is going to be in about 20 minutes. 45 minutes or so goes by, and then the nurse came in wheeling the wheelchair for me to climb in, and I was like, I need to pee. So I ran into the bathroom to go pee quickly before getting up for surgery. Then they wheeled me upstairs. The anesthesiologist and a couple of people, there had to have been about 12 people in the surgical room, and, I mean, couple faces that I didn't recognize. But they asked me if I was nervous, and I was like, actually, I really wasn't. I wasn't crying, I didn't get emotional, nothing. I was ready. I had done the research and I was ready for this. So you climb up onto the bed, and then I got really excited when I saw Cece's face, and I saw Frank, I saw the cardiologist, and then Dr. Kelly came in. So I was just kind of really relieved, and he was all scrubbed up and ready to go. So then he surprised me. Just as I was about to go under, he had asked Frank how long I had, and he's like, I don't know, 20 seconds. And Dr. Kelly's like, we found the drug for you. We found the injection. So he gave it to me right then and there, the injection for the nausea meds. And if I can recommend it to anybody, I mean, spend the extra money. It's $120, I think is the generic form, 180 or something for the regular form. But if you can get it, what a difference. Because I had it, and Brittany, the other lady that was having the surgery the same day, didn't get it, and she was dry heaving and sick for over 48 hours. I I claim, I say that I didn't have any nausea, but in fact, sorry, I just got to readjust here. But in fact, I did. I guess I had, when I woke up from surgery, Dr. Kelly said I was dry heaving and stuff. And I woke up and I had kind of this blue slime that was all stuck on the side of my face. And apparently he said that's the dye he puts in your stomach for, to detect for leaks. So anyway, so I had puked that up. He says sometimes it just doesn't sit in people's stomachs very well. So I had my surgery, get wheeled back to the room. I don't really remember it. I was probably still kind of out of it for about 2 hours. I remember rolling over and looking at my phone for the time, and it was about 2 o'clock, and my surgery was done at noon. So then I heard him wheeling in the next girl. So Brittany had arrived safe and sound, got checked in, all that stuff, and she was going up for surgery. So by the time Dr. Kelly was done that surgery and came down and checked on me, it was about 5 o'clock. He basically said everything went great. I had no complications whatsoever, and he was able to repair a hernia. So I had kind of informed him that I thought I might have had a hernia. I had had trouble swallowing, and I'd choke on food and things like that. So he was able to repair that for me. And he actually was really kind, and he gave me a video of my surgery. I don't think he does it for everybody, but I had agreed that I would post it up here on YouTube for anybody to see what a hernia repair is and how much work it takes some extra to do it. So for hernia repair, it's $500 extra to the surgeon. So I did pay that to him. Um, the first day was it was really uncomfortable. As soon as I was lying in bed, I started burping. Like literally, I woke up and I was like, like trying to get myself to burp. I don't know if that helped, but I didn't seem to have nearly as much gas as Brittany did. As soon as I was able to walk, which was about 6 p.m. that night, I got up and walked as much as I could. Anytime I'd get up to go to the bathroom, I'd get up and walk laps. So you're hooked up to IV. The IV kind of runs pretty slow, but you do have to pee quite often. So that helped. Second day we woke up. That the next morning we woke up, a second day in the clinic. Um, and the nurse, who's super sweet, Teresa, she comes in and she is like, okay, shower time. And I was still really uncomfortable. I was traveling alone, so Teresa was such a sweetheart. She kind of didn't help me shower, but she would hear like I'd drop my shampoo bottle and she'd reach in and hand it to me, and it was really nice. She was just such a sweetheart. So I was glad to have her there. And then Dr. Kelly shows up about half an hour later saying, okay, we're going to do the swallow test today. And usually he does them on the second day. So I guess I was a little shocked that I had to do it early. But Brittany was still in rough condition, but I was sorry, my poor knees are getting sore. But I was in a little bit better condition than she was, so it wasn't as bad for me, I think. But so we did the swallow test. We went over to Hospital Angeles to do the swallow test, and then we went back to the clinic, and I just got back into my gown. We were going to be there for another 24 hours. They just kind of tap off your IV, and then you go over for your swallow test. So that was good. That went well, swallow test, and he gives you a copy of your chest x-rays. He gives you a copy of, sorry, I hate moving all over, a copy of your chest x-rays and a copy of your swallow test to take home with you to show your general physician. Um, and then, so we end up going back to the third day, we end up going back to the Hotel Lucerna. Unfortunately, when we show up, of course, no rooms are available. We get there at about 10 o'clock. They did have rooms for us, but we had to wait until 3 o'clock to check into those rooms. Luckily, they ended up getting them done a little bit early. We just kind of hung out by the pool, did lots of walking. They took our luggage for us, so we didn't have to deal with that. We sat down in the restaurant and had some broth. Dr. Kelly came and visited with us. And then we finally got our rooms at about 1 o'clock or something. I went and had a nap, and then Dr. Kelly called me, woke me up. It was probably about 3:30 or so, and the girls that were having the surgery the next day had arrived in the hotel, and one of them was really upset. So I ended up sitting and visiting with her, and I just wanted what the girls had done for me prior, answered all my questions. I wanted to be able to pass that forward. So I was able to visit with her, chat, answer all her crazy questions that she had. And I mean, don't get me wrong, no questions are crazy, but some you have anxiety and you ask some things that you probably common sense should know. But I had done a lot of research, so I wasn't worried about that. But I can't think of anything else. Basically, I paid our standard fee. I paid extra for the first night hotel. I paid extra for my hernia. And then I paid tips. Like I tipped Jorge and I tipped Teresa and, anybody that I kind of felt made my experience better, which was really great. Dr. Kelly is an amazing surgeon. He did, everybody's going to have hiccups when it comes to surgery, but you know, you need to go in it with your eyes open, and your main concern is to have the surgery safe and get out of there with the procedure done properly. So you have the tool to lose the weight that you went there for. You know, everything else, the hotel reservations and all that stuff, you just got to go with the flow. And Mexico works a lot different. They kind of, I was joking, they work on Mexican time. So you just need to go into it with, you know, that expectation that nothing's going to be perfect. It wouldn't be perfect here in Canada. It wouldn't be perfect in the US. Um, so the small hiccups, and they try their best to take care of all of them, do happen. But, you know, I was just kind of firm and really, I guess, you know, between taking pictures of my contract and stuff, I really kind of just put my foot down, I guess, is that I wasn't going to be pushed around. You know, this is what I came here for. I knew exactly what I needed. I wasn't emotional about it. It was a decision I made prior to getting there. Nobody needs to convince me of it. So you just, you know, that's all I can recommend. Other recommend, which everybody used to say it to me and it would drive me crazy before, but walk, 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 and sip, sip, sip. That's all you need to worry about when you get out of surgery. But I'm 2 weeks post-op now, and I'm doing fantastic. I have one incision that's bugging me a little, but other than that, everything's good. No infections, no nothing. So unfortunately, I need to cut this short. So if you guys have any questions or want me to cover anything else or any details that I missed, please feel free to comment and I'll respond to them, or I can make another video. But YouTube gets mad at me when I make them too long. So take care, and I hope you enjoyed. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.